We have been told that grades are everything, especially in the African setting. Get good grades, get a good school, get a good job. That has been what has been sold to us as parents. And that has been the African parenting formula for generations. But what if I told you the most successful, most fulfilled, and most resilient adults were not necessarily the ones who came first in class? My name is Coach Fran, and I'm the CEO of Parenting Bloom Institute, a Little Leaders Mentorship Academy. Today, we're going to talk about the one thing your child needs more than grades. The one thing your child needs more than grades. And once you understand this, it will completely change how you parent. Are you ready for this class? Let's get right into it. First things first. And so today, I'm not using my laptop, I'm using my book. And also, this is the other book I'm using today. So today you see me and my book in your face. So for today's topic, as African parents, what should I say African? As parents, especially in this part of the world, the African world, it's like we've been conditioned to always think about grades. Did you get an A? What was a grade? 50%. You can do better, this and that. And so it's like parents will stake everything to ensure their child gets that good grade. But that is only half of the puzzle, because there are more important things than grades. This is not me saying grades are not important. Of course they are important. Without grades, you're not going to go to the next level, you're not going to get promoted, you're not going to do that course that has always been on your heart. And so good grades matter. But beyond that, there are other things that matter as well. So first things first, grades can get your child into a good school. I'm reading directly from my notes to you. But grades cannot teach your child how to handle failure. Sometimes you see children who are making it big when it comes to academics, like they're straight A students, or even if they are B's and C's, just one or two, but they are very good students. And these are the students who pass for a scholarship or anything. But you realize that's when something befalls them that is not academic related, then boom, the world has come to an end. Years ago, I witnessed an incident, and it really got me thinking. A very brilliant student, I'll even dare say top A student, something befell her. I don't want to share the details, but it's like the whole world had to pause and come to an end for her. And her husband really struggled going through it with her, because it's like, and this is not me downplaying what she was going through, but it's like her whole world came crashing down. And this is a grade A student. So you ask, why would a grade A student totally be crushed when something like this befell her? And that's what I'm talking about today. That's what I'm talking about today. So for that child, it made me realize that the parents focused, because she was a bright student, the parents kept on pushing her, oh, do well, oh, do this, that, oh, we are doing well, 99%, this, that. And they neglected other aspects of her life. So when she grew, and then this particular thing before her, that is not related to English and maths, guess what? Even her parents could not help her. It literally had to take an entire village to let her get back on her feet. And her husband really went through it. Her husband really did well. He went through it with her. But from where I stand, this could have been handled differently if this part or other aspects of her life were paid attention to when she was growing up. And as I've already said, grades can get your child into a good school, but it cannot teach your child how to handle failure. It cannot teach them how to get back up when life knocks them down, like the example I just gave. And it cannot teach them how to work with difficult people, manage their emotions, or push through when things get hard. See, you might be, or you can be the best students the world has ever seen, but life will deal with you in ways you did not expect. You meet difficult people. You have to relate with difficult people. You have to work with people who cannot manage their emotions. Things will come at you. And then what happens? What next? That is where the real test comes. So if you're a parent listening to me, listening to this class, in as much as it's important for your children to get good grades, stop focusing on that and teach them to be resilient children who have grades. Because trust me, they will meet it in life. In life, sometimes you are faced with situations which require you to be resilient, which require you to have grades, which require you to not just give up and walk away, which require you to stay. And if you don't have all these things that I'm going to be talking about, your world will crumble. Oh yes, your world will crumble. And woe betide you if you have no one to catch you. Unfortunately for us as parents, especially as African parents, we have produced generations of academically qualified adults who fall apart the moment life does not go according to plan. And we wonder why. Look, with the story I just shared with you, let me hold my book. With the story I just shared with you, if this lady had been trained to be resilient, trained to have grades, trained to face disappointment, trained to stand tall in the midst of disappointment, trust you me, she would have handled things differently. Oh yes, she would have. Even though the people around her would have supported her, she, from her end, would have handled things differently. And the support that will come from other people will not be so intensive. Look at us. Academically, majority of us are qualified. 8 A's, 1 B. I remember when those BEC grades used to come. 6 A's, this, that. And then the same people, now we are all grown. And then you hear, oh, so and so lost his job. And then you call him, and that person's one is just crashing and you're like, it's a job loss, not the end of the world. You learn from your mistakes. What's happened? How did you contribute to you losing the job? And then forge ahead. And then you sometimes sit and wonder, so bright, so good academically, yet so poor when it comes to other aspects of life. And so if you're parents listening to me, listen to me very well. Focus on grades, but pay more attention to the other things that matter. We have raised children for certificates, and we forgot to raise children for life. I repeat myself. We've raised children for certificates, and we forgot to raise children for life. And so I'm going to share a quote with you today. Raise a child who is not just academically qualified, but ready for life. Raise a child who is not just academically qualified, but ready for life. Because whether you like it or not, no matter your financial status, no matter what your surname is, life will come at you hard and fast. And you have to stand your ground. And guess what? It is not A and it is not B. It is not English and maths that will help you. It is what is inside of you. And so parents, resilience and grit are supposed to be on the top burner for you. Point number 2. Is this class getting hot? Don't worry, you'll be fine. See, sometimes in life you have to be told the truth. When we were growing up, we used to hear things like, parenting has no manual, we are all winging it, no one knows what they are doing. Let me tell you something. Now we know what we are doing. Matter of fact, parenting has a manual. There are people who are acing it. Sometimes you think, oh, well, lots of us are struggling, so everyone is struggling. No, it's wrong. All parents are not struggling. There are some parents who are really acing it. And acing it does not mean they don't have problems. They have problems with their children. Their children bring them problems, but they have ways and means of solving it. That will not wound the children in the process. So don't just sit at home and say, no one knows what they are doing. We are all winging it. Last, will they all right? It doesn't work that way. Gone are the days. We live in an era of knowledge. Let me remember one of my favorite quotes. The illiterate of the 21st century is not the one who cannot read and write, but the one who cannot unlearn, relearn, and something. I've forgotten the last word. So even though they are surrounded by knowledge, they are choosing to live in ignorance. Those days are past us. They are gone. Now there's knowledge in parenting. There are things you can do to raise wholesome children. So you don't just sit there and say no one knows what they are doing. People know what they are doing, and I'm sharing some with you. See, before I continue with the second point, let me tell you about our parenting back to school masterclass. There are lots of masterclasses lined up in the year for parents to learn. And sometimes, imagine you going through a problem and be surrounded by solutions, but you do not see or you do not know that this was a solution. It's easy to scroll on TikTok and on social media and look at jokes and comedies and laugh. And then you see a fire like, oh, back to school masterclass, and then you just keep meanwhile, your children or your child is struggling. And what the masterclass will provide is exactly what you need. On 21st and 22nd of July, 2026, we are having a back to school masterclass. Last time we had it, and we decided to take it public this year. Even if you are listening to this class after 10 years, you can always slide in my DM and buy a replay of the course. Even if it's next year, even if it's 6 months, even if it's 3 weeks after the class has been launched, you can always buy a replay at Parenting Bloom Institute and Later Leadership Mentorship Academy. When we host courses like this, you can always buy the replay and watch it, because the knowledge is still key. The knowledge is still necessary. For only 200 CDs, I'm going to teach you how to raise the unstoppable child, or how to prepare your child to be unstoppable for the next academic year. Yes, we are having our classes in July, because in the month of July, majority of schools have vacated. And so you, the parents, when you sit in a class like that and listen to what is taught, you have ample time to prepare for the September term, which is the first term for most of us in Ghana. And so for only 200 CDs, it has been highly subsidized for parents to be able to afford to join. And so if you are watching this video, forward it to your colleagues, forward it to your friends, your church groups, your inner circle, whatever. Forward it to them, let them come and register, let them sit with the teachings and let them learn. Because there's knowledge out there, and sometimes it can be very confusing. But when you sit in a system with a curated knowledge, like PBI and LLMA is doing, that is where the real justice, that is where the real work lies. My name is Coach Fran, and I cannot wait to host you in class. This is PBI. Even if one person registers for the course, the show will still come on. Point number 2. Introducing character. The one thing your child in more than good grades is character. Character. Character is who your child is when no one is watching. And it is how they treat people. It is how they respond to disappointment. It is how they respond or behave when things do not go their way. It is whether they tell you the truth when they are lying. It is whether they tell you the truth when lying will be the easier option. Yes, that is character. Last 2 weeks or so, I was talking about data. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was talking about data. And the way your child behaves is data. It is whether character can also be whether your child will keep going or they just give up when things become difficult. See, I like to have my teachings with scientifically backed research. And research shows that children who go on to thrive in life are not always the ones with the highest grades. No, they are the ones with the strongest character. The ones with grit, curiosity, self-control, and resilience. These are the children who become unstoppable, and these qualities are built at home and not in school. And these qualities are built at home and not in school. You cannot say you are paying 20,000 cedis per term per child for your children, and so the school should be responsible for these things. And you are so busy, you don't have time for these things. Pay all the money you want. Convert cedis to dollars. Convert cedis to pounds. Pay it to the school. They'll teach them English and maths and algebra. But you see the way your child is lying. You see the way your child keeps on throwing tantrums. You see the way your child just disappears when there's a problem. You see the way your child cannot try. You see the way your child complains at the slightest discomfort. It is your responsibility as the parent or the caregiver. The schools can only do their best. But if you have 3 children at home, if you have 4 children at home, matter of fact, if you have a single child at home and you are saying you are too busy to teach these things to your children or your child, do you think the teacher of 50 students can do it? Or the 125 students? Do you think staying with more than 50 students for 6 hours, 5 times in a week, you'll be able to teach these things? No. You focus on where the child came. English, math, science, algebra, whatever. And then they go. So the rest of the work, the real work, it's up to you, the parent. It's a job. It's a job. And you cannot excuse yourself out of it with, I am busy. No. No. No matter the money in your account, no matter how rich you are, there are things money cannot buy. There are things where you have to sit with your child and teach them. And if for some of them, you have to model it. But how will you know your child needs these things? That's where the data comes in. That's where the having time for your children and observing them comes in. Oh yes, that's where it comes in. And so that's those dollars and pounds and cedis you went to pay. It's only for algebra and science. It's not for grit and curiosity. I think last week I was speaking about the home environment. You should catch a replay of that class. The home environment, that is where the real work is. That's where the real work is. So parents, don't just sit there and say, I've paid school fees, the school should handle it, that is why I'm paying. No, it is your responsibility and solely yours. Point number 3. Point number 3. What character looks like in an African home? You see the way today I'm stressing on Africans because these things I'm speaking about, they concern us more than it concerns other people in other continents. Let us leave other people and focus on ourselves. Now I know what some of you are thinking. African parents already teach character. Like in my house, we grew up with so much character, so I'm teaching my children so much character. In my house, we teach respect, hard work, and to not disgrace the family name. And that is true. Matter of fact, you're right. African parents has always had a strong character foundation. But there is a difference between teaching a child to obey and teaching a child to be resilient, teaching a child to be quiet, and teaching a child to have self-control. There's still a difference between teaching a child to fear failure and teaching a child to learn from it. So you see the difference now? As parents, we need to go deeper. We need to go deeper. We need to raise children who are not just well-behaved, but well-equipped. And unfortunately for us as Africans, or majority of us as parents, me inclusive, it's like we focus so much on character. Why is my child behaving this way? Why did she say this? Why did he do this? This is that. That is this. This is that. That is this. So much so that we leave the other things because we've made character, how our children behave, our God, and our sole focus. And our sole focus. We are so focused on having obedient children that we do not pay attention to curiosity. We do not pay attention to how they come out of setbacks. This class is for you to be self-aware, for you to have that identity shift. Yes, that's what this class is for. That's what this class is for. So don't just sit there and focus. Don't get me wrong, behavior matters. How your child behaves matters. But don't make it huge. The only thing in front of you that it has blinded you and you cannot see the things at your sides. No. No. Focus on what matters. Focus on what matters. Can you imagine paying dollars for a child to learn in school and they don't have a growth mindset? Can you imagine converting CDs to dollars and your child cannot come out of setbacks? Can you imagine paying thousands of CDs and your child cannot think for themselves? These are the skills your child needs. These are the skills your child needs. These are the skills. Grit, resilience, and curiosity cannot be graded, but they will take your child further away than any A. Grit, resilience, and curiosity cannot be graded, but they will take your child further away than any A. So these are the things I have to focus on. Let the teachers focus on the English and maths, and you focus on the grit and resilience and curiosity. You say, Coach, but how do I teach these things? That is why PBI exists. We are starting a founders community where we hold parents accountable for a year. We'll teach you what to do to raise wholesome children. If you are interested in joining us, matter of fact, I would admonish you to join us, because you need to be in a curated system where we teach you these things. You see, these free classes I'm teaching, they are good, but it's like they are scattered. You cannot pinpoint them or bring them together. But when you are in a curated community, everything aligns and everything flows. Join our parenting community, where we'll teach you what to do and we'll hold you accountable, because we want you to do the important work of raising your children very well. Join so that it will not be too late for you as a parent. Our doors are open. You can always slide in my DM if you have any questions to ask. We are in June, the year is running, and our doors are still open. Join whilst they still are. Parenting has a manual. That I will tell you. That I can beat my chest and tell you. It does. So join us to find out. We are holding classes like these to create awareness, for you to see that we know what we are doing and what we are talking about. I've already said we're going to have a back to school masterclass, and so in the light of that, we're having a back to school series where we talk about things back to school. But this is not paid for, it's free. The real work is in the paid class. So get some 200 CDs. Send it to me. You can send it to this number, 0249333899. And let's continue from there and wait patiently for 21st and 22nd July. Parenting has a manual. Join in, because we are waiting for you. We need to raise children who are not well behaved, but well equipped for life. Well equipped for life. That's why the emphasis is. Point number 4. I'm going to teach you how to build character at home. How to build character at home. First things first. Let your child struggle sometimes. Coach Fran, what do you mean? I should let my child struggle after everything I went through as a kid. See, the fact that I struggle is the more reason why I will not let my children struggle. I've been through it. They do not have to go through it. Is this you? Calm down. If you do not set your children struggle, you are doing them a great disservice. It's like as parents, especially as African parents, you'll be conditioned to shy away from problems and struggles. But magic happens when you are faced with a problem and you go through it and learn from it. Not every problem needs to be solved by you, the parent. When you let your child work through a challenge on their own, you are building grit and problem solving. You see, grit is here again. As for today, the common words here are grit, resilience, and curiosity. Rescue them less, coach them more. When your child, you see, it starts with very little things. Your child wants to drink a bottle of water, they are struggling to open it, and they just come and start the bottle and open it for him. Hey mom, no. A book is, let's say, at this level, your child wants to take the book and then they're struggling. You just have to sit and watch what to do. And then you just come show them up the way and just take the book and give it to them. Let them face challenges and learn from them. It starts with little things like this. And then as I go, the things increase. And before you realize, instead of becoming a parent, you are now a savior. The day you are not available, chaos walks in. You cannot be everywhere at any time. You cannot be everywhere your child is at all times. That is why you need to skill them up. Solving problems for your children all the time will not do it. It will not cut it. Yeah, rather, matter of fact, you are rather being a great disservice to them. Let them face challenges. When they're done, talk them through it, coach them through it on what to do better next time. That is how problem solving is built. That is how grit will be built. Number 2. I love this point so much. Normalize talking about failure. Normalize talking about failure openly. Openly. Share your own failures with your child. Tell them about the time something you did went wrong and what you learned from it. See, when failure is normalized at home, your child stops being afraid of it at school. Let me tell you a story. One day, I was baking, and I had to put baking soda in the recipe. The recipe called for baking soda. And instead of putting it after I had put in a particular ingredient, I put it in the recipe earlier than I should. And after I had mixed up the entire recipe, I realized, oh my gosh, the baking soda was supposed to be the last thing that enters the recipe. Instead of discarding it, I decided to bake it. And it ended in premium tears. So later that day, I was showing my children. We're talking about failure, and I was telling them that, look, this is what happened to me today. The way I've learned my lesson, I don't think I'll repeat this mistake. And guess what? Every time I'm repeating that recipe, because I went through it, I learned the hard way. I've never forgotten about it. Matter of fact, anytime I'm baking, my recipe is in front of me. I told my children, I don't want them to see me as I'm not superwoman. I don't want to be superwoman. I make mistakes. Yes, I do. And they need to know I make mistakes. Just like they also make mistakes. So when we talk about mistakes, they'll say that mistakes are not something we run from, but something we learn from. Something we learn from. So that is it. You're not afraid of failure at home. Don't be afraid of it at school. No, they wouldn't. Number 4. Praise efforts, not the results. Praise efforts, not the results. Instead of saying, well done, good job, you've done well, you can say, I saw you put in the work of studying, and now I can see it reflecting your results. You did very well with that. Keep it up. What are you doing? You are focusing on efforts. He said, I saw you study hard, and it's now reflecting. Not generic praise, hey, well done, hey, this, hey, that, hey, this, hey, that. No. And when you do that, you are teaching them that process matters more than the position. Process matters more than the position. So stop giving generic, hey, well done, good job, we clap for yourself. And start being specific. And start being specific. Start being specific. See, let me tell you something listening to parents this morning. Your child's report card tells you what they know. Their character tells you who they are. Observe your children. Collect the data and do with them as you will. A child who knows how to get back up will always has lost a child who never failed. So stop shielding your children. Stop protecting them. You cannot do it. It's not for the long term. Teach them how to rise up from their challenges, because trust me, they will need it along their journey of life. Oh yes, they will. They will. Stop raising children to pass exams. Start raising children to handle life. Raise your children to be able to handle life on their own. That is where the real work is. I'm going to conclude and end this class. Grades will open doors. Grades will open doors, but character will determine what your child does once they walk through them. I repeat, grades will open doors, but character will determine what your child does once they walk through them. Focus on what is important and not only on grades. Focus on what is important and not only on grades. That is where the real work lies. My name is Frances Hammond, and I'm the founder and CEO of Parenting Bloom Institute and Little Leaders Mentorship Academy. Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram and we are on TikTok as well. If you have any questions, let us know and we'll answer. So our next class on Wednesday. Share these classes with your colleagues and friends. It was done for them and they are free. Hit the subscribe button, like and interact with our posts and our YouTube channel too. Till our next class on Wednesday. Have an amazing day.